Hi, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Danny from The Glittered Rose. You can find me under that name over on Instagram and also Amazon. I have a fun mixed media art journal project to share with you today. I think that you're going to enjoy it. So I've used Maremi Small Art images both in the background and in as the focal image, and I've used paint to blend the layers together, and I've given it a gorgeous rusty effect, and blended over the top so it's not too much. I have done rust effect before, but I've used different rust mediums together so that it's a little different this time. So if you stick around, you can see what I used this time to give it a different effect. I reckon it's really cool. I love this page. I had so much fun creating it. So the images have come from Maremi's little personas, and I love this book. And I have seen that she's bringing out a second one, which I can't wait for. I think I will have to definitely grab that because I really do love the industrial or steampunk sort of theme of this book. I think it's just gorgeous. I love the sort of artiness that you can bring to these images. It really lends itself well to mixed media and art journaling or junk journal. So it suits me. Um, I've added some die cuts. Just pop my book out of the way because it always wants to focus on the book. So um, yeah, there's some different techniques in this video that you'll see that I haven't done previously on camera. So I hope that you enjoy this video. Alright, I won't blab on too much. Be sure to hit the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm just flipping through this book, and sometimes I think the hardest part is trying to decide which image to use or which images not to use. They're all so gorgeous. I really do like that girl there. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of the colours and what sort of colourway I want to go. Thinking I might use a background paper today because I haven't done that yet. And I know I want to play with rust again. I haven't done that for a while. I'll leave a little bit of me flipping through the book in the video because I think it gives a chance for anybody who might want to purchase the book a chance to see it in case you haven't. All right, I'm going to go with this girl here. I think that she's gorgeous. Yeah, I think I'll go with this larger one. I think sometimes just tearing the whole page out is a little bit easier than trying to cut around it. It's a bit difficult because his gumboots cut into that image, so I'm not going to be able to have a squared off image. Quite sure what to do here. Okay, so I'm just grabbing a page out of my art journal. I've just designed my art journal so that I can pop the pages in and out because I find that's the easiest method for the way I create. Yep, it looks like she'll fit well. Okay, so what I'm thinking now is I'm going to split this image up. So the way to bypass those gum boots is that I'm going to split it up. So I'll cut her out and then I'll have the two plants either side of her. So I'll be able to um, get around those shoes. I'm going to cut these up and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've cut the images out and I've decided I'm going to have some collage in the background just for some added sort of texture and interest. I'm not sure how much at the end we'll see, but I imagine there'll be some text poking through, which just adds some interest. I'm just tearing it up and laying it on, and um, I'm thinking, how brown do these pages look in comparison to the girl and the flowers? Because to be honest, the girl's very grey and the flowers are very grey. And I'm gonna try and um, bring that sort of grey graphite look into my final page. So I don't really want to play on this vintage brown look. I'll be leaning more into the greys. All right. Doesn't this look ugly at the moment? But you keep going because it all comes together in the end, hopefully. And for anyone who's new to my channel, welcome. My glue of choice is Collage Medium. And I always just audition things and see how it's looking as we're going. I'm wondering if it's looking a little cramped, but I'll just keep going. All right, I do want something up the top of this background, so I'm going to do a flip through of the book once I've finished with this book page and see what I can cut out. I will also finish fussy cutting that little girl. I haven't finished fussy cutting her out. Okay, so I've decided I really like the look of this. It's got that graphite look that I'm going for, along with some florals down the bottom. So I think I can utilize the top and the bottom of this image. So I'm just using a ruler just to whip it out. Pull this back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to have the bottom part down the bottom and then the top part up the top. I really like that industrial part showing. Hopefully at the end it will still be showing. And then the flowers down the bottom with the other flowers. I just want to have some of these pictures still showing, but also have some of the lovely mixed media techniques and sort of grunge that I add to my art journal still there. So I hope I can have a bit of a fusion going with this art journal page. I think that that will look quite good. I'm gonna glue all this down. Um, I'll probably yeah, I'm gonna trim these flowers up a bit more, and I'll trim her down, and then we'll be back. I'll be back with the next step. You don't need to watch me glue it down because I think that would be quite boring. All right, guys, if you'd like to know what my internal dialogue is saying right now, I'll give you the clean version. This is the ugliest thing you have ever created. I hope you know what you're doing. And the truth is, nope, no idea. Let's just hope I can pull it together because at the moment it's looking like a lost cause, and I'm highly doubting this will ever end up on my YouTube channel. And it's possibility that it will end up in the bin. So let's see how it goes. All right. So I'm going to try blending this with acrylic paint. So like I said earlier, I'm leaning in towards the cool colors and I want it blended with the grays and some of the pinks. So um, that Joe Sonia paint, I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go with the grays. So I'm currently using the Distress Weathered Wood. And while it's a little on the runny side for my liking, I do like the translucency of this. So I can still see what's behind it. It's not as textural as I like, but yeah, we're giving it a go. I think it's a good color. So I'm just blending all the bits and bobs together to try and get things to match or to, blend in together. I'm going to grab some gesso soon and blend some white as well and some pink paint. I hope I have the right pink because this is a very sort of um a almost a reddish, well, brownish reddish pink, I guess. It's a funny color. Okay, to match the translucency of my of the weathered wood, I've grabbed down my gesso from Liquitex. It's a lovely translucent gesso, and I'm adding some nice white space or extending the white space that's already there and just blending that out. So I'm just taking my time and um, yeah, adding some greys and going over what grey's already there. Hoping I can save this. This is why I love mixed media is because there's all different techniques that you can play with and try. If it doesn't work out, it's just a piece of paper. It's not the end of the world. It's relaxing. It's paint and put layers on. If it doesn't look right, just paint over it. Or put it in the bin. Nobody will know. This goes in the bin. You're not going to know. I'm just slowly building up colour where I think it needs it. It's just giving it a soft sort of a focus look. I'm add a little bit of pink. Definitely going to pop a bit of grey in. This is starting to come together nicely. I'm just going to build up these layers. Probably get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm just going over the different areas to try and camouflage where the paper joins so that it doesn't look so stuck on. Camouflages things to a degree. Remembering that the girl's going to go over the top and there'll be other shading, and then I'm planning on popping some rust over the top. So it's not something that I need to be too particularly worried about because there will be other elements going over the top, but this is fun as well. So I'm going to be back when I'll be back when I'm finished this step. But I'm having fun just creating layers. But I do think that it's coming together. Well, even I surprised myself because I quite like this background now, and I think it's passable. I quite like it. I think by the time the girl goes on and the rust goes on, I think it's going to look quite nice, and the background will all blend together, and um, it will have the result that I wanted. So I call that a win. And it's all pushed back in the background. It's not, it's not doesn't look like it's all in the foreground. So we'll keep it. Okay, so I've edged her with a little bit of brown ink just to take away the edge, the white edge. And now I'm just wondering, do I glue her down now or after I pop down the texture paste? And I've decided I'm going to glue her down now because otherwise it can be so difficult to get them to stick if there's any sort of 3D texture. So I'll just pop it down and I'm going to give her a good coat of the glue over the top just to protect her. I'm going to have a fairly low on the page just to give it the room from the top to have that rusty texture and to show the industrial scene at the top. I really want that to shine through. All right, I'll dry her off. In the background of this background paper, there's some hexagons. So I've decided to follow it through with this stencil, and I'm using it with my texture paste. This is my favorite texture paste from Kmart, believe it or not. It dries quickly. It's super easy to use, and I can even hit it with a heat gun, which is perfect for me because I'm not the most patient person. So I'm just doing nice, long, thin swipes of texture on 3 corners. I'm not putting a lot on, I just want a little bit. Gonna try and miss the girl. Not worrying too much about it. Go. And I'll move the stencil down and pop some in the other corner as well. Oh, that looks cool already. I'm just trying to decide which corner. Do it in this one, I think. Don't want a lot. I keep smudging it. Keep smudging it up on my finger. I'll get a wet one, a baby wipe, and wipe it off. That's a good thing about sealing things with glue or um, collage medium or whatever. You can wipe things off. There we go. I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll be back with the rust technique. Okay, so the last time I used this rusty texture by Stamperia, I used way too much. So I'm going to try to not use too much. I'll just give this a dry off just to make sure that it's perfectly dry. So I'm starting off with the red color and I'm just putting a little tiny bit on and I'm just watering it down. Sometimes I wish that these paints were a bit thinner because they are quite thick. I just want them to run through the texture paste. I think things running through texture paste just makes things look so interesting. It's such a great mixed media technique to have things, sort of grunged up, running through texture paste. It's one of my favorite techniques. I'm also going to add some Rustica by Paper Artsy. It's an infusion powder. And I'm going to see what they look like together. Because I reckon together it might be a cool technique. Let's see. Sometimes I think that the Stamperia paints just lack the right color and a little bit of grit. I mean, it does come with the powder, but getting them to stick can be really difficult. So adding some of that powder, I think might be a match made in heaven because I think sometimes that powder also misses some of the body. So I think together they could work really well. Look at this brown. There's also some walnut powder in the Rustica, which I love. So together, I think that they're going to work really nicely. Look at the colour. Oh, yep. I love that. Yeah. I think that's a great match. It's very strange, and this is something that I have noticed before, and I don't know if this was a manufacturing fault from Paper Artsy, but there's a ever slight pink pigment that comes out of this rustica. It's strange. Don't know what it is, but you can see the very tiny little bit of pink, and it happens just sometimes. Not sure what it is, but we'll choose to ignore that. Look at that brown grunge up the top. Lovely. I'm going to just start with that rustica and just show you the difference without the paint. It's really nice, but it sort of lacks that depth that you get when you mix the two together. I'll add a little bit of the walnut in. I think it needs a bit of the paint. I prefer it with some paint. I'm going to dry this side off and then we'll do the top corner. Okay, so let's start off with some powders. Just sprinkle a little bit on, doesn't need a lot. And instantly you can just see how interesting it is when the liquid runs between the cracks of the modeling paste. I just love it. Such a great mixed media technique. It's so interesting. Sorry, my media card ran out of room, so you missed me popping a little bit of paint in that top corner just to grungy it up and add a little bit of interest. I didn't put a lot of paint on, I've dried it off. So now I've decided I'm going to blend these rust areas into the page because I think they're too wide, they take up too much space, so they need to be blended in. Starting off with a little bit of white, and then I'll go over with grey. I think the technique of using the two different rust mediums was fantastic. I think it worked really well, and I think that the rust looks really, really great. I think it's a fantastic technique, and I'll be sure to use it again. So I'm hoping this just sort of minimizes the bulk of these rust bits. Just sort of, yeah, camouflages them a little bit. I really like that sort of charcoaly black image behind her back, behind her head. I think that's, I think it looks good. Oh, yep, that's working, I think. I really do sort of like this messy textural mixed media art journaling style. Suits me. I think that's pretty good. I like that. Okay, I'm going to dry this off, finish up and dry it off, and then we'll get on to the next step. All right, so my white gel pen has gone walkabout. So I am taking a walk on the wild side and tracing around my girl with some white gesso. I'm just being careful not to slip. This just brings her out from the background because I think she's sinking into the background. And then I'm going to trace around her with a black pen. Sounds counterintuitive, but I think it should work. She's cute, isn't she? She's a cute image. They're all cute in this book. That looks pretty good. Oops, bit clumpy there. I'm gonna find my pen, dry her off, find my pen, and I'll be back. I've just grabbed out my thingamajiggy pencil. I think what it's called, a charcoal pencil, and I am heavily giving her a shadow. So even though the image has a shadow between her feet, I think she needs a bigger one. So I'm just grounding her at the moment. Quite heavily. I like that. Okay, now I'm going to go around her. I thought this pen I could smudge out, but I can't, and it's too late. Oops. I'm just going to go over it just to, I don't know, maybe hide it a little bit. I don't want to colour in the white bit, but I just want to smooth out that line. I sort of thought that this white pen I could smudge out. I'm not sure why I thought that. This black pen, sorry. I probably wouldn't have outlined her if I had thought it out properly. Oh well. Live and learn. Do a few scribbles around just to try and even it up, and then colour around her with a bit of charcoal just to try and make those lines a bit more subtle. And then I'll be back. I'm going to set up my die cutting machine and die cut out some leaves from a Tim Holtz set. I'll let you know what they are when I've grabbed them out. Okay, so I've grabbed out some spray stain in fossilized amber, rusty hinge, and bundled sage. And I've die cut some leaves out of watercolor paper, and I'm just giving them a spray down with some water. And I'm just going to give them a quick spray with some of the colors. And I want them to have an autumny look. We're coming into autumn and the leaves are changing here. I love autumn where I live. It's a beautiful time of year. These leaves are from set 661206. There, it's a Tim Holtz set. So I'm going to dry these off and we'll pop them on the art journal page. She's got those long stems in the background, and I want these to look like they're in the foreground. I think that looks pretty good. I have probably end up just having. Yeah, I like that. And I've just grabbed out a little sticker that says explore and a rusty heart. I'm going to leave the leaves quite, going to just glue them down loosely so there's a little bit of movement. And I'll hot glue down the heart, and then I'll be back. I won't make you watch me glue them all down. Okay, so I've traced around the explore with my Stabilo wall, and I'm just scrunching that up with a wet brush. I think everybody knows my love for Stabilo walls. And that's looking, I'm really happy with how this is looking. It's interesting and textural, and I don't know, I just think it's really cool and sort of arty, and I love it. And so now to frame it, I'm just going around with my charcoal pencil and just tracing around the edges. Just concentrating on the corners just to go in. I probably won't be able to go in on the corners too much with the rust. It's looking good. I have a question. Is there any art journaling or mixed media techniques that you want to learn or you would like to see me try? Let me know in the description box below. I'm always on the lookout to try different things. So if you have any suggestions, I'd really be open to it. My channel's growing all the time, so I'm not always sure what you guys want to see. So I'd love to hear any suggestions. I'm loving this. I'm going to finish up with a little bit of blending and pop it in its journal and call it done. And we'll have a close look together. I think I'm, yeah, really happy with how it turned out. And to think I was sure it was going to go in the bin. Just goes to prove you can never be sure of how it's going to end up. All right, I'll be back. And here she is, all finished. I have to say, I think it's so cool. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the grunge. I love the texture. I love the picture behind her. It's a bit different to really anything I've done before. But it's sort of the same at the same time. I don't know. I just think it's really cool. Let me know down below what you think. If you're going to try, doing a rust page or what you think. I love me a bit of rust. So it's not something completely new for me, but, using the two different rust mediums together, that is new. This book isn't new. I love it. I will put a link in my description box if you want to grab yourself a copy of this book. I do love it. Thanks so much for watching till the end. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope that you like how it turned out. Be sure to share it with your friends. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already. And yeah, check out my channel for more mixed media content just like this, art journaling. I love to share what I make. Till next time, guys. Bye for now.